Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Des Reacts back with another video. Like I said, I'm gonna be Mr. Consistent this summer. This one's a little different. So instead of like a graphic video that's like shows a bunch of stuff, talk about stuff, this is just like an interview. So with and this one's called Delta Force and 22 SAS hunt HVTs in Iraq, high value targets, and get into an intense gunfight. So this is just like a sit down interview with a Delta Force guy and a SAS member. So this is gonna be pretty crazy. We got two of the best, right? Two of the best in an interview talking about this. So I think it's gonna be pretty dope. Let me know your guys' comments on this video. If you guys haven't, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get into it.
22 SAS was working with us. House full of bad guys. I mean, RPGs and machine guns lined up on the roof. It was bad timing. Whatever you do, don't throw a frag. There's ordnance all over the roof. You know what's coming. Grenade in courtyards, grenade in rooms. Like they were full blown. It doesn't matter who you are, you're dying.
This is about to be good. It's about to be good. It's about to be intense. So when you guys see me get like excited or something like that, I'm not like happy things are happening. I just think it's just like, whoa, like, just so you guys know, like I'm not glorifying war and stuff. I'm just like, I'm a boy, right? I'm a man. Like stuff like that. I play Call of Duty, Battlefield, all that stuff. Like that type of stuff, like it's exciting, like it's adrenaline, you know what I mean? So I'm not like happy people are dying and stuff, but I just, it's just something, just so you guys know.
We're chasing deck of card stuff, so Saddam and all of his minions. But then came home for like 2 weeks and then deployed again for our true second rotation. So now you're in October of 03 and Halloween night of 03, so pre-Saddam capture. We were on a hit in Fallujah, and 22 SAS, I was just laughing about this the other day with the 22 SAS guy, but SAS was working with us.
Okay, not 22 SAS members, but 22 SAS. So I'm assuming that's like a branch of the SAS, obviously. Just like E Squadron, maybe there's like that one.
So the Brits had joined the fight now, and they had a contingent, a tier 1 asset in country, and they were doing targets and we were doing targets basically all over the country. And we were in Fallujah this night, and they had a block and we had a block chasing some high value targets in Fallujah. And they ended up, drawing the short straw on the blocks, and they were manually breaching the gate of a house to get into the courtyard, and all hell broke loose. House full of bad guys. I mean, RPGs and machine guns lined up on the roof. Like it was bad timing. The Brits took some casualties in that initial engagement. We ended up covering their exfil of those casualties and withdrawal from that space from across the street. I was on the rooftop of a building across the street. We had Bradley's tanks in blocking positions. And rather than just go heavy and try to assault this house that was obviously heavily fortified and heavily armed and full of bad guys, we started shooting tow missiles from the Bradleys into this house. And we had a couple of little birds in support, and so a lot of 275 rocket, a lot of machine gun into this building. I think.
Whoa, okay, so this is like, they're going loud. Like, they got the tanks there, little mini birds that have like the little, you know what I mean? Like the big guns, right? They're shooting tow missiles. They could have probably just leveled the place, but man, that's tough. Like, they took, the UK, the Brits, they took casualties, man. Like, as soon as they breached that little gate to the house, it was just an ambush waiting to happen. And that's why, like, in Iraq, Afghanistan, Fallujah type stuff, like, that warfare was the worst that they've seen since, like, Vietnam or something like that. It was something crazy. So, man, RIP.
We shot 11 tow missiles into the building. Middle Eastern buildings are notoriously resilient, as a lot of us know. So, there's some holes in the fence. There was a lot of holes in the house. Every time they would shoot more rounds, it would be quiet for a minute, and then a bunch of, rounds would come out. It would erupt again, and that went on for some time. But eventually we got to the point where we had like shot all the tow missiles and the little birds ran out of ammo, and we're like, all right, well, we got to go assault this house because that's what we do. So we did. There was a funny moment out front where we tried to send the dog in just to see if anybody was still up and moving around. And it was early on in the dog days. And the dog, teammate and I, my team, we drew the short straw and were the first ones to enter this compound. And so I'm standing behind my 2IC at the gate. And Mikey actually called for it. He's like, let's send the dog in and see what happens. And so one of the dog handlers sent the dog in. He went in the courtyard. We can't see him. A couple of minutes go by. He comes back out. Nothing. We're like, and Mikey's like, send him again. Dog goes again. A couple minutes go by. He comes out. Nothing. No barking. No, like we don't hear anything. We're like, that's weird. Tried it one more time. Still nothing. I think we tried 3 times. Well, hindsight, what we found out was the dog was going into the courtyard. He was getting tangled up in all the tow missile wire that was laying on the ground. And they had never dealt with that. So the dog would get all tangled up in the wiring that was laying on the ground in the courtyard, and he would get confused and he would just come back out instead of going into the house.
Oh man, that sucks, dude. Because one, I'm sure for a fact they modified their training for the dogs because now they know this is a situation. Dogs got to be able to get through it, right? But that's crazy. So they thought this is all clear. So now they're probably like, okay, bet. And they're about to go and walk into another ambush. Watch. That's crazy.
They'd never dealt with it. So they'd never trained the dogs to deal with obstacles en route to make an entry into a building or whatever. I was never a dog guy, so forgive me, dog guys, you get the point.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so at that point, Mikey, like, leaned over to my shoulder, and he was like, you got a flashbang? And I pulled one off his back, and he went, fuck it. And I threw the flashbang over his shoulder in the courtyard. We made entry. One of the teams ended up killing a guy that was still alive in the house. And then we cleared the first floor, started to go to the second floor, and there was a suspected IED on the landing on your way up to the second floor. You know, protocol was to get out of the building, so there's a code word that we used to get out of the building. So they called that code word thinking the building was rigged. Even then, we were paying attention, and it was before any of that had ever happened. So we exited out of the building, ended up clearing the building next door, going up to the roof, and there were still guys alive on the roof, and we ended up engaging. My team, we ended up on the roof of the building next door, ended up engaging those guys. And at the same time, the Brits had gotten back in the fight. And we're coming up the backside, and they were pissed. They'd lost a couple mates, so they were like, wall charge, grenade in courtyards, grenade in rooms. Like, they were full-blown. It doesn't matter who you are, you're dying.
Oh, man. I mean, obviously, it's like a last-ditch effort for them, right? Like, whoa. Yeah, they were pissed. They were wall charging, like, just running towards them, tossing nades in the rooms. Oof. Now, was he saying that was the Brits that's back in the fight doing that? Because if it is, man, them SAS boys, they don't play. Let me go ahead and rewind it.
Backside, and they were pissed. They'd lost a couple mates, so they were like, wall charge. And we're coming up the backside, and they were pissed. They'd lost a couple mates, so they were like, wall charge.
So the UK, the Brits, man, they're charging them, tossing nades in rooms. They, killed a couple of their comrades, right? They're boys. Like, man, time to get their get back.
Grenade in courtyards, grenade in rooms. Like, they were full blown. It doesn't matter who you are, you're dying. And they made entry in the house behind us, came up onto the roof. And I see tack lights. So 22 SAS wasn't running nods back then, which is insane.
No shit.
No shit. Tack light, no nods.
Wow.
No nods, no lasers. Yeah, 2003. And
whoa. So the SAS, they were like outdated with their weapons. They're using flashlights, man. They had no night vision. They didn't have lasers on their guns. Like, and they're this, like, that's crazy. And they're doing all this damage.
So their wall charge, entry, frag, enter in rooms. They end up in the house behind us. They come up. I see the tack light coming up the stairwell, and I'm yelling across the rooftops, "Eagle, eagle, eagle." And I get an answer back, "Right, eagle, eagle." I'm like, cool, they know we're here. And I made a mistake. I go, "Hey, whatever you do, don't throw a frag. There's ordnance all over the roof." You know what's coming. The call that came back to me was, "Right, mate, frag out." Grenade comes out on the roof. Brad and I both hit the deck. Luckily, it didn't set off any of like the RPGs or anything that were sitting up there.
Bro, that's crazy, man. He said, whoever you do not throw a frag. He goes in his British accent. Right, mate? Frag incoming. Like, that's crazy, bro. Just a little misunderstanding. I mean, them boys, they wanted to kill everybody, right? Like, that's wild.
But yeah, so what ended up coming out of that was the SSE of that target after everybody was killed. They were all wearing like tracksuits, like somebody had, like out of a movie, like someone had given them clothes. In the house was nothing but like sleeping mats, some food and water, and ammo. And what it was the first foreign fighter target we ever experienced. So they were guys that had been brought in through what eventually became the rat lines coming from Syria into Iraq, through Western Iraq, and then into the cities. And so they were the first true foreigners that we ever encountered. And to my knowledge, they were the first ones that were encountered in Iraq. And that was a weird moment because it was early in the war. Like, we hadn't even caught Saddam yet. But it was a really good snapshot of things to come. And so, yeah, that was my second rotation. Like I said, invasion, surge, and then my second rotation. But it was a good indicator that things were about to change.
Damn. So your team was the one that discovered that was happening.
Yeah, like I said, to my knowledge, that's the first time that happened. And we knew it. Like, it was like, this is weird. Like, why are these foreigners coming from other countries, and why are they armed to the teeth, and what's their goal? What's their objective? But yeah, that was the first realization that people of similar beliefs are coming to where we are specifically to kill Americans that are in Iraq.
Damn.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean Ryan.
Wow. Let me know what you guys think about that. I personally really like that video. If you guys want me to react to more of these, let me know in the comment section. But yeah, please smash that like button if you haven't. Hit that sub button. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.